Hello, my wonderful scholars. Welcome back to the Kemet Maasai Academy. We are going to be looking at examples of sets. Let me use this opportunity to encourage you, if you have not yet done so, to subscribe to the Kemet Maasai Academy so that you may benefit from all the videos that we have. We have math videos from grade 4 to grade 11. We also have motivational videos for all students to keep you inspired. So if you haven't done so as yet, please subscribe and please share the videos, tell others about the videos so they too can subscribe. So let us look at examples of sets. First, a definition. A set is a collection of items that share at least one thing, one feature in common. A set should be well defined. That means we should clearly state what is the criterion or what are the criteria for the members, the elements of the set. And the members of a set are called elements, right? So we should make sure to state either in set notation. For example, I'm going to explain as we go along the set notation, but either using set notation or actually describing what the elements of the set should be like, so that we are able to list the members, the elements of those sets. So we're going to do two activities. The first activity, we're going to look at the description of the set. So these sets are described right here in notation form, numerical form, here in using words to actually describe what the elements of the set are like. And from there we can go ahead and list the elements. In the second activity, the elements are listed and we are to figure out what would be a good description for this set based on the elements. Now, there is no hard and fast description. Once you're within a certain range based on the elements given, several descriptions can satisfy. So let's start with the first activity then. The instruction says list the elements of these sets. Set A contains whole numbers less than 8. So we're going to list the elements of set A, all the whole numbers that are less than 8. So we're not going to include 8 in it. Less than 8, so up to 7. The first whole number is 0. So 0, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are the whole numbers that are less than 8, from 0 to 7. Set B contains the natural numbers between 7 and 11. Natural numbers are counting numbers. We start counting at 1, so the first natural number is 1. But this set is very well defined. We only want those natural numbers that fall between 7 and 11. That means we are not going to include the 7 or the 11, just the ones in between them. So for set B, to list set B, the natural numbers between 7 and 11 will be 8, 9, and 10. Very well defined, very specific. They tell us exactly what they want the elements of this set to have in common. What these numbers have in common, they are the natural numbers between 7 and 11, very specific. Set C, prime numbers that are greater than 10 but less than 20. We are not going to include the 10 or the 20 because these numbers have to be bigger than the 10, greater than the 10, and they have to be less than the 20, so we can't include the 10 or the 20. So for set C, prime numbers greater than 10, less than 20. Remember, prime numbers are those numbers that have only two factors. They are a factor of themselves and one is a factor of them, since one is a factor of every number. So prime numbers have only two factors. What are the numbers that are greater than 10 and less than 20 that are prime? The first number greater than 10 is 11. 11 has only two factors, itself and 1. Only those two numbers can go into 11 without leaving a remainder. 11 is prime. 12 is not prime because there are a number of numbers that can go equally into 12 without leaving a remainder. So 12 has 1 as a factor, 2 is a factor of 12, 3 is a factor of 12, 4 is a factor of 12, 6 is a factor of 12, 12 is a factor of itself. So that's not a prime number, that's a composite number. It has 3 or more factors, so we're not going to put 12. However, we are going to put 13. 13 is prime, 14 is not, 15 is not. They have other numbers that can go into them. 16 is not prime, 17 is prime, 19 is prime. And that's it, because if we pass 19, we're going to get to 20, and they said they only want those prime numbers that are greater than 10 but less than 20. So these are the elements, only 4. 4 elements, 4 numbers, 4 prime numbers are greater than 10 and less than 20. A very well-defined set. Number 4, set D, months of the year beginning with the letter J. Alright, so months of the year beginning with the letter J, very well defined. We know specifically what we're looking for. So we just need to run down in our heads the months of the year and make sure only to list the ones that start with the letter J. So the first month of the year, coincidentally, is January. That starts with the letter J. February, March, April, May, June, July starts with a J. August, September, October, November, December. So 3 months of the year. 3 elements in this set, at least in the English language. 3 months of the year that start with the letter J. Set E. Now when we're given the notation in this form, we read from the middle. We read from the middle to the left and the middle to the right. So we're going to read this less than sign as a greater than sign because we're reading from the X out. So this means, normally we would have said 50 is less than X, but because we're reading from the middle to the left, X is greater than 50 and X is less than 55. So they want the numbers that are more than 50 but less than 55. What are those numbers? We're not including the 50 or the 55. Greater than 50, less than 55. So that would be 51, 52, 53, and 54. These are the numbers that are more than 50 less than 55. From 51 up to 54. So for this activity, we were given the description, the definitions of these sets. These sets are very well defined, very specific, and we made sure to abide by those regulations based on the description, and we listed the elements of the set. Now, we are going to look at the elements and try to figure out how to describe these sets. So set A starts with 1, 4, 9, 16. Can you identify what special numbers these are? There are several ways we can describe them. We could say they are whole numbers, which they are. We could say they are counting numbers, which they are. But if we want to give it the best description, the most specific description, we would say these are the set of square numbers, and the ellipses tell us that they continue. They continue to infinity. Square numbers start at 1. 1 is the first square number. 1 times 1 give 1. So a square number, you get it by multiplying a number by itself. So this is 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4. If the ellipses were not there, we could be even more specific and say the square numbers from 1 to 16, right? Because the ellipses are there, which indicate that this set continues to infinity, we're just going to say set A is the set of square numbers. And that would be alright, that suffice. Set B, 22, 24, 26. There are a number of things we could say. We could say they are whole numbers. They are whole numbers. They are counting numbers, natural numbers. But to be more specific, we will say these are even numbers. So we could say these are the even numbers that are greater than 21 and less than 27. Or the even numbers between 21 and 27. Anything along those lines, right? So we can use the formats given here, or we can just describe it. Even numbers greater than 21 and less than 27, or even numbers greater than 20 and less than 28. That's also true of this set, right? So just try to be as specific as you can. Look at them carefully and see what's the most commonality shared among them. Set C, we have red, green, blue, black. So clearly these are colors. We can just write colors. Right? Red, green, blue, black. If we had, for example, blue, black, brown, beige, we could be more specific and say colors starting with the letter B, for example, right? Or if we just had red, blue, yellow, we could say primary colors of paint, right? So we can be more specific depending on how narrow it is, right? How narrow it is. So set D, A, E, I, O, U, you should know these are the vowels in the English alphabet. So let's describe it that way. Vowels, we could just write vowels, or vowels in the alphabet. We are speaking in English, so it's taken for granted we're referring to the English alphabet. Of course, some other alphabets in other languages would include these, and others are not these at all, right? So number 5, set E, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We could just say days. That's okay. We could say days of the week. We could say days of the week between Sunday and Friday, right? So we can define it once it fits the description. If we just had Tuesday and Thursday, we could say days of the week beginning with the letter T, that kind of thing. But let's just write days of the week. That's okay. Days of the week. Set F, mango, orange, pear. So we know definitely these are fruits. And there are ways we can be even more specific. Tropical fruits. If we're talking about the avocado, which we call pear in the Caribbean, then we could say tropical fruits. So there are ways we can narrow down the description, or we can just give general descriptions, right? But the best thing is to try to be as specific as you can, because we want our sets to be very well defined. And set G, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. A general definition would be planets, or planets in the solar system. A more specific definition, if you know your planets well, you would know these are the 4 inner planets, or the 4 terrestrial planets, the land-based planets. So if we want to be specific, so let's write that. We could just put planets in the solar system, but we're going to put inner planets, because we want to show off so others know that we know our science. So if you want to show off on your maths teacher, to let him or her know that you're good at science as well, you're going to put inner planets, right? Those students who don't really want to show off, they're just going to put planets. But you want to show that you know your stuff. You know that these are the inner planets. Alright, so here we were given the description and we listed the elements of the sets. Here we were given the elements listed, and we had to try to figure out how to best describe them as specific as we can, right? Narrow it down as much as you can to make it well defined. Again, let me encourage you to subscribe. If you did not do it the first time, please do it now. Share the video so your friends, neighbors, classmates, siblings, everybody can benefit from the information. And remember, on this channel we have maths videos from grade 4 to grade 11. We also have motivational videos to keep you inspired, keep you loving to learn. So watch those as well, my scholars. I will see you in the next video. Remember to drop a comment just to say thank you, miss, or to share your experience with math, and to let me know if there are videos you'd like for me to do. So take care.